The death of a 12-year-old boy on his first night at a North Carolina wilderness therapy camp has been ruled a homicide. According to an autopsy report released on Monday, the boy was found dead in February at Trails, Carolina, a self-described therapeutic wilderness program, part of the troubled teen industry. Oh, shit. I just saw a documentary about the troubled teen industry. Do you know what I'm talking about? I'm trying to think what it was called.
I think I do. Yeah, I think so.
And I don't know what the hell they do over here at Trails, Carolina, but it was a lot of adults now who talked about their experiences as children at some of these programs. And again, I don't know anything about Trails. So I'm not saying they do this there, but there's a lot of allegations of abuse and just really horrid behavior. Just arcane type behavior that goes on with the counselors, in air quotes, at some of these things. Again, not accusing anybody of Trails, Carolina, but I'm talking about the documentary that I saw. The autopsy report obtained by HuffPost revealed that the boy's cause of death was asphyxia due to smothering. The manner of death was determined to be homicide. The tragic incident has brought renewed scrutiny to Trails, Carolina, and similar facilities that have faced allegations of abuse and negligence for decades. So maybe they are in that boat. According to the report, the boy was escorted to the camp by two men on February 2nd and processed for check-in. During check-in, the boy refused to cooperate until he spoke to his parents in New York and did not eat supper that night. He spent his first night in a bivy tent in a mummy sleeping bag with a zipper alarm attached. The fuck is that?
Well, I assume when the zipper moves, an alarm goes off. So you are stuck in that mummy bag.
What's the
Unless
point
you
of
want
that?
The alarm to go off.
Okay. The boy's counselor told detectives he was restless and mumbling in his sleep around 10 p.m. He was taken out of the sleeping bag, but fell back asleep only to wake up again by midnight, thrashing about. By morning, counselors found him cold to the touch and unresponsive. Jesus Christ.
Good Lord.
This is the next line here. Transylvania County Sheriff's deputies. Transylvania.
There is one.
Reported that camp officials did not immediately cooperate with the investigation. Oh, that doesn't look weird at all. An allegation that camp officials have denied. Staff members assigned to the cabin where the boy was found dead have been placed on leave. In May, the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services permanently shut down Trails, Carolina, citing that the facility endangered the health, safety, and welfare of clients. No criminal charges have been filed since the autopsy's release. The Transylvania County Sheriff's Office is reviewing the report as part of its ongoing investigation and is meeting with the district attorney. Meg Applegate, CEO and co-founder of Unsilenced, a nonprofit advocating for victims of institutional child abuse, called the findings heartbreaking and infuriating. In an email to HuffPost, she said, it further highlights the urgent need for comprehensive reform within the troubled teen industry and is a stark reminder of the dangers inherent of these facilities. Unsilenced is calling for state authorities to take immediate action and demand justice for this young boy and his family. Trails, Carolina has a troubling history. In 2014, Alec Lansing, a 17-year-old from Atlanta, oh, they have a fucking history, don't they? Was found dead in a stream in western North Carolina after running away from the camp. He died of hypothermia. Additionally, a 14-year-old girl reported being sexually assaulted by another camper in 2019. When she brought up the incident to camp officials, they denied her request to move to another cabin. That lawsuit remains ongoing. The death of the 12-year-old boy is the latest in a series of tragedies associated with wilderness therapy camps. Jesus Christ.
Wow. Did you ever go to camp?
We were supposed to, and then our sixth grade teachers all went on strike, and then camp got canceled.
Oh, wow.
And I remember playing the role of an investigative reporter in sixth grade as they sat us all down in the cafeteria to tell us that all the money that we'd been raising all year to go to camp, well, we can't do that. We'll have a pizza party or something instead. And I was like, and at the time, now I'm all for teachers getting paid correctly and well and all that. We had a district that was really kind of weird and unique and messed up. And it really wasn't quite what you would think of where you're striking because you want more money. I don't remember what all the details were, but it was just kind of self-centered and kind of selfish, in my opinion, at that moment in time. And I could be completely wrong all these years later. But as a sixth grader, you had all these kids that were like, there's no other thing we could have done to figure this out, to take us to camp. These kids have been raising money all year, doing this and that, spending their weekends, standing in front of fucking grocery stores and stuff in the freezing Wisconsin cold, mind you.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, oh, well, we can't do that. Let's get some Papa Murphy's in here and we'll give you an extra hour at recess or some bullshit like that. And they didn't like me.
Wow.
Because I really kind of, I exposed a lot of shit. I continued to
You were an investigative journalist back then.
Oh, when after Columbine, because I was in high school when that happened, there was threat. I think every high school started to have problems, but they didn't take any of the threats seriously within my high school. And I was friends with pretty much at least acquaintances with everybody. I didn't have any enemies, and I was friends with a lot of the, kind of the rejects, as you would call them, type people back then, or the ones that society just kind of looked down upon because they were different or weird. And they knew what I did. They knew I worked in radio at the time, and I was about 16. Maybe 17 at that time, because it was my last year. And I got a hold of one of the letters from one of the troubled kids. And he's like, you should see this, because I can't say anything, but maybe you can. So I got a copy of it, and I asked the principal about it. And they're like, oh, it's not a big deal. I said, okay, well, I'm going to give it to my news director, and we'll see how big of a deal it is later. So it was the main story that night on the news. And
whoa.
And and then the principal called me in, and why did you do that? And like, it was really handled poorly. They did not like me. They were trying to get me in trouble for the rest of the year on anything that they possibly could. And it was really just kind of ridiculous. But yeah.
But you did if you see something, say something. You said something, and then you got into trouble.
Before, if you see something, say something was a saying. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was concerned, for our well-being, that some of these kids did seem to have the propensity to probably take a weapon into school after what they just saw and, do some damage. But the school didn't want to take it seriously. They just wanted to coddle them and oh, it's okay. You guys are great. And I just thought it was bullshit. So I called it out.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's really unfair. It's, I don't understand, addressing a problem brings about more problems, but ignoring a problem that then explodes into a humongous nuclear bomb
exactly
is irreparable.
Yeah.
So, pick your poison. Would you like a little grief and a little more work and save some lives? Or would you like the nuclear explosion and then have to clean up after it?
Well,
I wish you luck.
The attitude of things in my hometown is always, let's make the wrong decision first. and that's just kind of how they operate there on every stretch of the imagination. Anything that, would make the city better or be a better improvement, let's pass on that. Let's criticize anything that's for the better, or somebody pointing something out that we might be uncomfortable with, but it's the true reality of what's going on here, until it gets really, really bad, or anybody who's willing to try and improve the community just gives up and leaves. And that's Fond du Lac, Wisconsin for you.
Yeah, I've known a lot of people who've been there and left. That says something if you can't keep people in a community. And I'm experiencing some of that where I am in Wisconsin as well. It's just kind of what are we doing? What? Yeah. It might just be easier to leave. And I don't know.
Yeah.
It's really sad.
It is. It is, but it's a reality in a lot of places. This is a disturbing story here. What was that documentary? I'm going to ask ChatGPT right now. What was the doc about troubled teen camps and abuse? Because if anybody's interested in this and they want to see it, The Truth About Troubled Teen Programs by Paris Hilton?
Yeah, Paris Hilton she was just talking about how she was, I think, drugged and sexually abused, which I had no idea. I'm not a fan of hers, but I didn't know that's what she was going through.
That's not the one I'm thinking of, but that sounds like an interesting one. Other ones, Kidnapped for Christ, 2014, Breaking Code Silence, 2020, Fix My Kid, 2014. I think it might be Fix My Kid. Children of Darkness is from 1983. So there's some that are out there if you want to take a deeper dive into that world, because it's messed up. And it obviously sounds like this is another one. Thank God they finally shut this place down after hearing these other stories. It's amazing it took that many deaths for them to say, hey, the wilderness camp might not be a good place for kids.
Want to listen ad-free? Want advanced access to all of our interviews before anyone else?
Become a True Crime Today Premium Plus subscriber on Apple Podcasts.
You get every episode commercial-free.
So you can binge on true crime
until you can binge no more.
Search True Crime Today Premium Plus on Apple Podcasts now, or go to our podcast page and sign up now.
More of the Hidden Killers podcast next.